Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. How are you? I hope you all are well. I am your English teacher. Students, we are on chapter number 15, Three Men in a Boat. This is third and last session of this chapter. In the previous two sessions, we read about three friends who were traveling. When they passed at Datchet, they remembered their first trip up the river. When they landed at Datchet, they wanted to rest, but they were unable to find any room. First, they went to the Stag, but it was full. After that, they went to the manor house. It also was full. The landlady of the manor house referred them to a small inn. When they reached there, they found there was no single bed empty. There was a bargeman who referred them at the grocer's shop next to the inn. Okay, students, let's start the chapter to know where they spent the night. Did they find any room at the grocer's shop or not? Students, as usual, first I'll read a paragraph, then I'll explain it in English and Urdu. And before explaining, I'll tell you meaning of difficult words. Let's begin. The grocer's was full. An old woman we met in the shop then kindly took us along with her for a quarter of a mile to a lady friend of hers, who occasionally let rooms to gentlemen. This old woman walked very slowly, and we were 20 minutes getting to her lady friends. She enlivened the journey by describing to us as we trailed along the various pains she had in her back. Her lady friends' rooms were let. From there, we were recommended to number 27. Number 27 was full and sent us to number 32, and number 32 was full. Students, enliven means to make somebody or something more lively or interesting. Trail means walk or move slowly or unwarily. This paragraph states that when they reached at the inn which referred to them the landlady of Manor House, they came to know it was full. There was a kind bargeman who referred them at the grocer's shop next door to the Stag. And when they went at grocer's shop, they knew it also was full. There was an old woman who took them for a quarter mile to her lady friend. The old woman walked very slowly. They reached at her friend's house in about 20 minutes. She made the journey interesting by telling them about her various back pains, and when they reached there, room number 27 was recommended them. But when they went to room number 27, it was full. And after that, room number 32 was recommended them, but it also was full. Okay students, now I'll explain these lines in Urdu. जब ये तीनों फ्रेंड्स ग्रोसर्स शॉप पर पहुंचे तो उन्हें मालूम हुआ कि वो फुल है. वहां पर एक काइंड ओल्ड लेडी थी जो उन्हें अपने साथ अपनी एक लेडी फ्रेंड के पास ले गई जो कि ओकेजनली रूम्स किराए पर देती थी. वो ओल्ड लेडी बहुत स्लो चल रही थी और ये लोग उसे फॉलो कर रहे थे. वो ओल्ड लेडी अपनी बातों से रास्ते को इंटरेस्टिंग बना रही थी. जब वो लोग उस लेडी की फ्रेंड के घर पहुंचे तो वहां पर उन्हें रूम नंबर 27 रेफर किया गया. लेकिन जब ये रूम नंबर 27 में गए तो उन्हें मालूम हुआ कि वो फुल था. फिर उन्हें रूम नंबर 32 में भेजा गया तो वो भी फुल था. लेट्स मूव ऑन. Then we went back into the high road, and Harris sat down on the hamper and said he would go no further. He said it seemed a quiet spot and he would like to die there. He requested George and me to kiss his mother for him. and to tell all his relations that he forgave them and died happy. Students, this paragraph states that when they didn't find the room where the old lady took them, they went back to the road. They were so tired and fed up. Harry sat down on the hamper and refused to go further. Harry said, I would like to die here. He said to George and Speaker to kiss his mother. He also requested them that tell all his relatives he forgave them and died happily. Okay students, now I'll explain this paragraph in Urdu. जब उन्हें उस जगह जहां ओल्ड लेडी लेकर गई थी वहां भी रूम ना मिला तो वो रोड पर आ गए। वो बहुत ज्यादा थके हुए थे। हैरिस हैम्पर के ऊपर बैठ गया और मजीद आगे जाने से इनकार कर दिया। उसने जॉर्ज और स्पीकर से रिक्वेस्ट की कि उसकी तरफ से उसकी मदर को किस करें और उसके रिलेटिव्स को बताएं कि मैंने उन्हें माफ कर दिया है और खुशी से मर गया। लेट्स मूव ऑन। At that moment, an angel came by in the disguise of a small boy. And I cannot think of any more effective disguise an angel could have assumed. With a cane of juice in one hand and in the other something at the end of a string, which he let down onto every flat stone he came across, and then pulled up again. Students, disguise means give someone a different appearance in order to conceal one's identity. This paragraph states that when Harris was disappointing, a boy came like an angel. He had a cane of juice in one hand and in the other hand he had a string, in which he was dragging the tied object to the ground, which he let down onto every flat stone he came across and then pulled up again. Okay students, now I'll explain this paragraph in Urdu. उसी लम्हे एक बच्चा नजर आया, यानी जब ये लोग बिल्कुल मायूस हो चुके थे और इनकी समझ में नहीं आ रहा था क्या करें, तो उन्हें एक बच्चा नजर आया जो उन्हें एक फरिश्ते की सूरत में लगा। उसके एक हाथ में जूस था और दूसरे हाथ में एक डोरी थी जिसमें कोई चीज बंधी हुई थी और वो स्टोन से टकराती, वो बच्चा उस डोरी को घसीट रहा था, जब वो स्टोन से टकराती तो उसे वो दोबारा खींच लेता। लेट्स मूव ऑन टू नो हाउ डिड द बॉय हेल्प देम। We asked this heavenly messenger, as we discovered him afterwards to be, if he knew of any lonely house whose occupants were few and feeble, old ladies or paralyzed gentlemen preferred, who could be easily frightened into giving up their beds for the night to 3 desperate men. Or if not this, could he recommend us to an empty barn or a disused lime kiln or anything of that sort? He did not know of any such place, at least not one handy, but he said that if we liked to come with him, his mother had a room to spare and could put us up for the night. Students, occupants means a person who resides or is present in a house, vehicle, seat, etc. Feeble means lacking of physical strength, especially as a result of age or illness. Desperate means having lost all hopes. Lime kiln means a kiln in which limestone is burned to produce quick lime. This paragraph states that when they asked the boy whether he knew about any lonely house whose occupants were few and weak, they thought where they can easily frighten the occupants to get bed to spend night. And they also asked the boy for an empty barn or disused lime kiln or any other place of its type. But boy replied no, because he didn't know of any such place. Then he offered his home because he had a spare room at his home where they can spend night. Okay students, now I'll explain this paragraph in Urdu. उन तीनों फ्रेंड्स ने उस बॉय से पूछा कि वो कोई ऐसा खाली घर जानता है जहां पर वो रात गुजार सकें या फिर जहां के रिहायशी कम हो या कमज़ोर हों जिन्हें ये आसानी से खौफजदा करके बेड हासिल कर सकें। और अगर वो कोई ऐसा रूम नहीं जानता तो कोई खाली बार्न या कोई लाइम डिसयूज्ड लाइम किल और इस किस्म की कोई और जगह जहां पर वो रात गुजार लें। वो लड़का ऐसी किसी जगह के बारे में नहीं जानता था, लेकिन उसने कहा कि उसके घर में एक स्पेयर रूम है जहां वो रात गुजार सकते हैं। लेट्स मूव ऑन। We fell upon his neck there in the moonlight and blessed him, and it would have made a very beautiful picture if the boy himself had not been so overpowered by our emotion and sunk to the ground, letting us all down on top of him. Harris was so overcome with joy that he fainted, and had to seize the boy's cane and half empty it before he could recover consciousness. And then he started off at a run and left George and me to bring on the luggage. Students, overcome means succeed in dealing with a problem or difficulty. Faint means feeling weak or dizzy. Overpower means defeat or overcome with superior strength. Consciousness means the state of being aware of and responsive to one's surroundings. Students, this paragraph states that they fell upon boy's neck to express their pleasure or gratefulness. Harris was so happy because they had found the solution of their problem. He was so fainted, so he had taken the boy's cane and he drank it to recover himself. And after being recovered, he started running and left all the luggage to bring for George and a speaker. Okay students, now I'll explain these lines in Urdu. ये लोग शुक्रगुजार इन्होंने सॉरी इन लोगों ने शुक्रगुजारी के तौर पर उस लड़के को गले लगा लिया। हैरिस इस कामयाबी पर बहुत खुश था, वो बहुत फेंट फील कर रहा था। उसने लड़के के हाथ से केन ले लिया और आधा पी लिया। जब वो फ्रेश फील करने लगा तो उसने फौरन भागना शुरू कर दिया और जॉर्ज और स्पीकर को सामान लाने के लिए छोड़ दिया। लेट्स मूव टुवर्ड्स लास्ट पैराग्राफ ऑफ दिस चैप्टर। It was a little four-roomed cottage where the boy lived, and his mother, good soul, gave us hot meat for supper, and we ate it all. 5 pounds and a jam tart afterwards, and 2 pots of tea. And then we went to bed. There were two beds in the room. One was a 2 foot 6 inch bed, and George and I slept in that, and kept in by tying ourselves together with a sheet. And the other was the little boy's bed, and Harris had that all to himself, and we found him in the morning with 2 feet of bare leg sticking out at the bottom, and George and I used it to hang the towels on while we bathed. We were not so particular about what sort of hotel we would have next time we went to Datchet. Students, bare means a person or part of body not clothed or covered. This paragraph states that when they reached at the boys' home, it was a little four-roomed cottage. Boy's mother served them supper and tea. After taking tea, they went to bed. There were only two beds in the room. One was 2 foot and 6 inches. George and Speaker slept in that, and the other bed was little boy's bed. Harris slept in that. When George and Speaker wake up next morning, they found Harris' bare leg was sticking out at the bottom. George and Speaker used his leg to hang the towel while they bathed. They were not so particular about the hotel type when they would next time went to Datchet. Okay students, now I'll explain this paragraph in Urdu. उस लड़के का घर 4 कमरों का एक कॉटेज था। वहां पर उसकी मदर ने उन तीनों फ्रेंड्स को खाना और चाय सर्व की। इसके बाद वो तीनों फ्रेंड्स जिस रूम में सोए वहां पर 2 बेड्स थे। एक 2 फीट 6 इंच का था जिस पर स्पीकर और जॉर्ज सोए, जबकि हैरिस जिस पर सोया वो एक छोटे बच्चे का बेड था। अगली सुबह स्पीकर और जॉर्ज उठे तो उन्होंने हैरिस की अनक्लोथ लेग को फर्श पर लटका हुआ पाया, जिसको इन दोनों ने शावर लेने के दौरान एज अ टॉवल स्टैंड यूज किया। एंड दे डिसाइडेड नेक्स्ट टाइम डेचेट आने पर वो होटल के हवाले से इतने पर्टिकुलर नहीं होंगे। Students, this is the end of this chapter. Before ending today's lecture, we will do the remaining exercises of this chapter. So move towards them. Exercise D. It's on page number 134 of your book. Discuss the following. Are any of these proverbs appropriate for this story? Explain the proverb in short. Students, in this exercise, we have to shortly explain the proverbs and we have to tell which proverb is appropriate for this story. Students, first of all, I'll tell you what is proverb. Proverb means a short, well-known pithy saying stating a general truth or piece of advice. So let's start the exercise. A. All good things come to an end. It means good time don't last forever. Students, all things and situations are temporary or happiness is fleeting. It may be used to express regret when something that brings you happiness ends. Okay? Second is all's well that ends well. If the end result is good and favorable, all the hardship that one has gone through to achieve the goal seem insignificant. Students, if the outcome of a situation is happy, this compensates for any previous difficulty or unpleasantness. Beggars can't be choosers. Students, when you are asking for something, you can't be choosy and have to accept whatever is given to you. This adverb is appropriate for this story. Students, because 3 friends have no other option, so they must be content with what is offered to them. Okay? D. The early bird catches the worm. It means a person who starts work on time is sure to finish on time and get results. Okay? Students, here is the summary of this chapter. Once 3 men have been traveling in the boat down the river Thames, England. They decided to land at Datchet to take some rest. But unfortunately, they were unsuccessful in finding any hotel empty. After some time, a boy came out of the blue and offered them his home for rest, where his mother served them delicious supper along with some tea. Although the furniture of that room wasn't comfortable, still they spent their night peacefully in that cozy little house. Students, this chapter has completed. Read this chapter thoroughly. I hope all of you have done the previous work. Now, first make index, then do exercise D and summary in your English literature copy. Inshallah, we will start new chapter in the next session. Thank you. Till then, take care of yourself and your family. Allah Hafiz.